Hear all of our previously aired broadcasts of News for the Soul online at newsforthesoul.com. Now let's get back to the show.
Gateways to Peace with Polly Wirum. Let's bring her on now and start the fun. Polly, welcome back.
Good morning, Nicole. How are you?
I'm just had a deep clearing healing session, so I'm kind of very relaxed right now.
Excellent. I always get you right after your beautiful experience and your healing experience before my show. So I am calling from Alaska today. Back in Alaska, made it home, I think, Saturday night or something. So it's good to be back in the green and the peace and the kind of chill environment. Chill, I mean, in more ways than just one. But anyhow, it's good because I was in the heat for a while. So I am Polly Wirum. I'm an intuitive life coach, a writer, and a speaker. My website is gateways2peace.com. That's with the number 2. And I help people find ease, peace, and inspiration. So I do that in various ways through coaching, through intuitive readings, and through events. So to learn more about my work, read my blog on my website or else visit soulspring.org. And you can also sign up for my newsletter. So each week, either Sunday or Monday, I do energy of the week, and I kind of look at what energy, what the week ahead feels like, and sometimes I put some predictions in there. Some of them, I can't really tell what time they'll happen, but that they're coming up in the near future. So it's just something kind of fun that I like to put out there. And with that being said, we all can create exactly what's going on in our life. So if we want more peace in our life, we have the ability to connect to peace. If we want more love in our life, we have the ability to connect to more love. So really, whatever we want in our life, we have the ability to connect to it. But I also like what the prevalent energy is going on in the world that week. And so I'm going to share with you what I did for Energy of the Week. I just posted this on Facebook like 10 minutes ago, and I will share it now. It'll also be on my website later on today. So welcome to the Energy of the Week for 6/24, and the highlights are happy and energetic. So this week it's enjoy time with family, but with that being said, we may experience the need for some alone time to gather your thoughts. This will provide those of you struggling with family dynamics the need to strategize and come up with a plan that makes everyone happy. So what that means is, enjoy your family, but if any of you feel like, whoa, this is a lot of family, or you're having family reunions or with all the kids home or whatever it is, take some time out for yourself. And I think that, that re-energizes you, but it also helps you if there's if there's kind of some family drama or something that needs to be settled. It gives you the time to figure out how to make it a win-win situation for everybody. We will also see some people attempt to be more independent from family. So this can be in your family, but it can also be viewed in well-known families. So I'm talking about families that show up in the media that that you're going to see in the news. So people will be attempting to show that they're not affiliated with other family members' actions. So there's going to be something, at least one family where we see people are trying to separate themselves from the family. Like if they could change their name, they would. On a side note, I also see something going on with Senator McCain's family very soon. If not this week, very soon it'll be something with I was shown like the family tree, so definitely something within his family. So just watch for that. This week is also a good time to see if you have fallen into the pattern of oversimplifying others' ideas. I'm a big simplifier. I love doing that. It makes my life really easy. But what this means is take the time to hear other people out. They may have a solution to the problem that you've been struggling with. So sometimes it's not necessarily that we're oversimplifying somebody. It's more that we're not really listening to them. And so I feel like this week is a good opportunity to take the time to really listen to other people's suggestions, because they might have a solution to a problem you're dealing with. The art of transformation, you have the ability to see perfectly a project or a dream, beginning, middle, and end. So this week is all about you getting the clear vision of what you have for yourself. And again, it's the beginning, middle, and end. So really take the time for this transformation to take place, to, get a footing, so to speak. Look for opportunities for speaking, performing, also putting property on the market this week. It's great for all those. Don't overindulge. Enjoy life, but know your limits. And the balancing act of putting energy into two places, two jobs, or two relationships can be very tiring. This will be coming to an end soon. But be sure to finish strongly in the one you care most about. So what that means is if you've got two projects going on and they're both going to end, the one that you care the most about, the one that you identify the most about, really finish strongly on that. Like, don't just let that, wither away. Really put some energy into it, because that's going to give you the insight you need to carry on new projects. It's not so much an ending to both, but a reconfiguration of how you are managing your time and skills. There will also be new skill sets coming for those interested in continuing their job search for the perfect job. Remember to ask divine support and guidance. If you feel you would like a little more energy or stability in your life, ask for it. In the past, I mentioned we would see blackouts on computer screens and information, and this was in the news this weekend. I do believe we're going to see more of this for sure, but what I had seen in the past is it'll be connected like with flight info, like flight information, and it'll be on a bigger scale. And basically all of this stuff, I just put it out there because it's what I see. I find it interesting, but I'm not doing it, to scare anybody. And again, we all have the ability to create exactly what we want in our life. So all in all, it's a good week to clearly invest in the vision you hold for yourself and your family. And, put love into your family. Family matters can settle down. So those of you that are feeling some stress in the family situations, they can settle down for sure. Allow yourself to be confident and energetic. And most of all, invite the ones you love to spend more time with you. So this is Polly Wirum. That is my energy of the week. And again, I put that out every week. And sometimes, like say you go to my website and you're reading the energy of the week for a week in November. You know what? There's probably something in that passage for the week of November, or whenever you hear this, that hits home at what's going on in your life. So it's, whenever this makes it to you, it's probably the right time for it to come into your life. So now I would love to introduce a guest that I have who is a writer. She's a healer. She's a coach. She's a speaker. She's been doing this for a long time, and she has done a lot. And I'm really excited to have her on. Her name is LEA Chapin. So, LEA, are you there? Are you with us?
I am. Thank you, Polly, for having me. I'm so delighted to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you, and it's so good to hear your voice. Excellent. So, LEA, I looked on your website, and you do a lot. I mean, it's like there's nothing that you don't really do in the spiritual world. And so I want to ask you, how did you get started? Like, how did you just, were you born with this, or how did this come into your life?
I have a master's degree in counselor education, and I worked as a psychotherapist for many years. And then in 1993, I began to receive a Reiki session, and one of my spirit guides began to speak through my voice. And at that time, I became a direct voice channel for spirit. And so I decided to combine my psychotherapy skills, education, and training with my ability to be able to hear the spirit guides in the angelic realm and be able to help people understand aspects of their life that they're struggling with as a psychic medium. But I really consider myself a spiritual psychotherapist, and I work a lot with helping people understand their relationships issues, health issues, phobias, fears, and oftentimes that's related to past life issues. And so I can bring that information forward. And then the work that I do as a psychotherapist, it's a beautiful marriage between the spirit world and traditional therapy to help people understand aspects of their life that they've been struggling with. So a lot of the information really simply comes from our past life in our Akashic records, and I'm able to bring that forward.
That is very powerful, because it's almost like you have the ability to tap into what, so where we are right now in this very moment, which we know is so powerful, but you have the ability to go so deep and that word deep is overused, but to really go in depth and, everything that those people have experienced at any time, you have the ability to go in there, feel what it's like, where the bumps are, and bring it forward to kind of deal with in this life. That's very powerful.
It's extremely interesting. I'm always fascinated by. I'm still fascinated by it. I've been doing this work for 25 years as a direct voice channel for spirit, but I'm still fascinated. I'm still entertained. And yesterday I read for someone who had lost her voice, had a voice disorder, and I helped her understand that it had to do with a past life. And Spirit actually came in and did some healing with her and gave her some healing techniques to work to be able to actually heal her voice. So that was really interesting. So every day it's really fun to see what's going to happen and come through. So it's not boring, Polly.
Well, no, and you know what I really appreciate about what you're saying right now is it's like you don't lose, and I'm the same way. Like I have so much respect and so much almost in awe of, when you receive messages or you have these experiences with people, number one, that they trust us, right? That they go to you and they trust you and that they're open. That in itself is a big thing. But then just the very act of sharing messages and how you receive things that you would have no way of knowing, right? There's no way that you would be able to know, what happened to somebody when they were 3 years old at, chopping wood or whatever, right? And you get these messages and you share them, and it blows my mind. And I mean, I love to hear that you carry that same, honor for the process. I think it's wonderful.
I do, because to me it's sacred work, and I take it serious. And I know that a lot of people are not really familiar with, quote, psychic mediums. I'm under that umbrella, but I really want people to understand that this is really a part of our soul journey. And if we can demystify the fact that we have lived before, that we carry the imprints, we carry the energy from other lifetimes into our current lifetime, that we can really understand and how to help ourselves and empower ourselves. So that's really what my work is all about.
So do you believe that the general populace, it's becoming an easier thing for them to connect to and utilize it?
Well, I've been doing this work for 25 years, and I was living in a very small farm community, which I'm actually still in this moment. I live in Florida most of the time, but this is my hometown. So I've seen a lot of change and a lot of growth in the consciousness universally with people understanding this. But where I was living and with my experience, there were not a great deal of mediums, but now it seems like more and more people are opening up and awakening to their intuitive gifts. And so psychic mediums, people who are doing similar work with me, intuitive readers, are just really prevalent. So this is the consciousness that is awakening, which in one way is really beautiful because it's becoming more mainstream. We can see it on TV with the Long Island medium or the Hollywood medium or whatever. But at the same time, this is the consciousness. People are awakening to these gifts inside themselves, and that's where we're shifting and moving into this new age of enlightenment.
And I agree with you 100%. But in that same note, I like to tell people, because there are so many people out there that are doing readings that advertise doing readings and medium work, et cetera. I really do believe that when you go to have a reading, if it doesn't feel good to you, you leave, because I really do believe there are so many people out there and amazing people. But pay attention to how you feel when you're receiving the reading, because it is an energy exchange, and you should you should feel good. If you don't feel good, then I wouldn't go back, and if you really don't feel good, I would exit sooner than later from the reading. I just put that out there because I just know. Myself, when I first started having, I guess, abilities to give readings and receiving messages, I was looking for kind of, a teacher or, different groups. put me on the path of starting my own group because I couldn't find one that I liked. But along the way, I, met people that were doing readings that I was like, what the heck? I didn't feel so good. And some of the messages that they were sharing, they weren't so good. And so I just like to always, that's one of the things I always tell people is pay attention to the way you feel. So do you agree with that, Lee?
I do. I believe that we need to use discernment. And so not to necessarily be skeptical or be distrustworthy, but use your discernment. And not all readers are at the same level of vibration. So you will attract the reader that will vibrate at your level. So I work with the Ascended Masters. I work with the Angelic Realm. I work with the Galactic Federation. I work with Jesus. I work with Mother Mary. And so every reader is different in terms of what they're able to access. Some readers are able to access those who have crossed over, which is, on the other side. Not all are able to access the energy of the higher realms of the Ascended Masters, Archangels, and galactic beings of light. So everybody has a different skill set, and yet when people are drawn to a reader, that may be fine for them because that's where they are in consciousness. So the people that come to me are different than what comes to another person, but I always ask that people use their discernment. But the bottom line is what I'm saying is that you will vibrate or you'll be drawn to the person that you need to go to.
Yeah, I really like that. That's a very good answer. Okay, so I know you've written several books, I believe, but tell me, I know you've got one that hasn't been out that long. Can you tell us about that?
In March of 2017, I published Divine Union. It's the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I started working with the Holy Family 20 years ago. I started channeling Jesus, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene 20 years ago. I've been channeling for 25 years. So when they came to me 20 years ago, I was somewhat shocked because I was at that time working with my primary guide, Grand, and then I started working with the Archangels. And then within 5 years, I started working with the Holy Family. And I consider myself spiritual but not religious. And yet I couldn't understand why they were coming. Well, it had come to me, or they had shared with me, that I had lived in the lifetime I was one of the Essenes, and I was Jesus' cousin. And so Jesus and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene had asked me to write the book about the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene and how they were family friends, and they were twin flames. They had a sacred contract. They had agreed to come together 2,000 years ago to hold the sacred energy of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine energy for all of us. So the book is really about their love story, how they met as young children, they were family friends, how they went through their trials and their tribulations in their own love story, but also preparing Jesus for the crucifixion. And in my book, what has been brought forth was called The Great Design, that Christ knew about the crucifixion, and he had prepared for it for many years, and yet he did not physically die upon the cross. He survived. He lived on. He married Mary Magdalene. They had a family, and then he recovered and continued on with his post-resurrection ministry, and that their firstborn daughter, Sarah, is what is called the missing Holy Grail, which is the divine sacred balance of their union. So I'm writing the third book, which is the messages from Sarah, their daughter, about the energy that she holds of the sacred balance, because the story really is about all of us partnering with ourselves, coming into divine union with ourselves, and seeking the union and oneness within ourselves. And that was really what the sacred mission that Jesus and Mary Magdalene brought forth 2,000 years ago. So it's a love story. It's about their life as twin flames, their struggle, tells the story of his crucifixion, but yet there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger message here in this story.
That sounds amazing. I just want to let everybody know. Can you share with us your website and so the best way for people to learn about you and your work?
My website is leachapin.com. It's LEACHAPIN.com. And my book is available on Amazon. It's on Kindle as an ebook and then in paperback. And then you can purchase it directly through me on my website, leachapin.com. I'm writing the third book with Sarah with the messages, Sarah's Messages as the Missing Holy Grail. Not sure when that's going to be out, but it will probably be out within the next 6 to 9 months. But Divine Union is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story, and not just because I wrote it. It's the reason that I wrote it was because I really wanted people to feel the humanness of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and that their struggles are our struggles, and how they were able to accomplish all the obstacles that they went through to be able to complete the mission that they were called to do in their lifetime. And we all have a soul mission. We all have a soul purpose. And I know that our life journey is difficult, and there's obstacles, and we get stuck and we get blocked in our own way. But this book shows us that level of determination and commitment that they had. And they're just holding the template for us so that we can complete our life mission and our soul contract as well.
So I have 2 questions for you. When you are channeling and you're receiving the messages for a book, that's a lot of information, a lot of channeled information. Do you sit down and are you in front of your computer and just putting it down as you're receiving it? Is that how you work?
You'll laugh. No, I'm not computer illiterate. I have to hire people to help me. I am old school. I sit with, in the olden days, I used to sit with a cassette recorder, and now I record it on my cell phone on Dropbox, and then I have to have someone, like a medical transcriptionist or someone, type it out for me. And so I channel the information, and then what I do is then I have to edit it, and then I have to rework it, and then I paid an assistant to help me format the book. So it was really quite a process. This book took me probably anywhere to 3 to 4 years, partially because there was a lot of information, and I wasn't ready to bring it forward, and I think partially the world wasn't ready to hear the message yet. And I also had to reconcile my own fears of putting my name on a book that said Jesus didn't die on the cross. He married Mary Magdalene. They had children. And this was a lot for me to do, even though this may become common knowledge to a lot of people. And other authors have written similar information, like Claire Hartsong with her book, Voices of the Magdalene, and Grandmother Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. So this information has been out there, but I still had to reconcile my own fear. So it took me quite some time. So when I worked on it very quickly from October of 2016 to March of 2017 and really kicked it out. So I knew that there was time. And since it's been published since March of 2017, I've had such a beautiful response from people all over the world that are really touched by the book, and it's really helped them to understand the story of Jesus, the man, versus Jesus, as many believe is our Lord and Savior. And there's so many people who are really connected to Mary Magdalene, more than I can imagine. So I've had such a beautiful, lovely response. It's been very heartwarming for me to get the feedback from people from all over the world about my book.
Well, it is an act of courage for sure to kind of, even just doing this type of work on its own is an act of courage, but to put something out in writing or something out on video that is, going against the norm, it's an act of courage for sure, because you're putting yourself out there and you're making yourself vulnerable. And that is, that requires an element of strength without a doubt. So do you believe that Jesus was a man, is he still having lives on this earth? Is the work of Jesus still going on today? in this moment?
Well, every Monday morning, I channel a message from Mary Magdalene or Jesus. I've been doing it for almost 15 years, and so I did it again this morning. And I've been bringing their universal messages and teachings to help people to understand how to navigate their life and to help them to understand the higher spiritual perspective of what's happening within the world. And so I don't know if Jesus has incarnated and is living on this planet at this time. I can't answer that. He's not told me that. I don't know that. But I do know that his energy of the Christ consciousness and his frequency is here alive and well, helping us.
Lovely. That's perfect.
Is that what you were asking?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's whatever it's perfect. But I channel also, and so each week I do, or every other week I do a blog, and I put a channel message. And probably like a year and a half ago or something, I did a blog, and it was about, I don't know if it was, well, anyhow, it was about, so do you know what Jesus is like in your book? Does it say what his, like what type of family he was born into? Like what the parents did? Like, were they cobblers, or were they, like, did it say, like, what their work was?
Well, he didn't really talk much about his parents' work in my book, but I knew that his father was a carpenter, and his uncle Joseph of Arimathea, which was Mother Mary's brother, was a wealthy merchant and a shipbuilder. Mary, the Mother Mary, was a part of Christ's ministry in the sense that she helped him prepare for what we call the Great Design, preparing him. So they never said that she worked outside of the home in the sense that, she raised her children and she helped assist Christ. But the family was supported financially through her brother, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a wealthy businessman and ship owner. The ship merchant.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so you do all this amazing stuff and you're sharing all these amazing messages. What practices do you have in your day-to-day life, or say every week? What practices do you have that keep you connected to, not only connected to the energy of Jesus, but just connected to the energy of peace? What practices do you have?
Well, every morning before I wake up, I set my alarm, or I wake up and I connect with the amazing spiritual beings who want to talk with me. And they give me the guidance and they give me the information that I need to know for that day. And they bring forth the wisdom and the healing for me. So for the past 25 years, I've been really, really blessed because they've brought me so much healing. And they've also helped me to understand the greater picture of my own personal life. I do exercise, I do meditate, I do yoga, and yet for me it's really about being connected with spirit in my consciousness at all times, because for me my goal is to embody the energies and the frequencies and the wisdom and the knowledge they bring to me. So I'm trying to walk my talk. I'm trying to hold the energy that they bring to me and live it as a living mantra. So for me, my life is my spiritual work. My life is all about spirit. So I'm less interested in the physical realm of life than I am in the spirit world, even though I am grounded. And, I continue to do my daily practice of what I do in my physical world. But in my mind, it's always about my connection to spirit and knowing that they're there to help me. And I just hold that always in my consciousness. And that's how it's been ever since Grand came to me 25 years ago. I've just been really devoted to my connection to spirit. They're very, very real to me. And they've changed my life. They've helped my life. And I'm in complete gratitude to them, because without spirit within my life, without the amazing spiritual beings that work with me, Jesus, Mother Mary, Cryon, St. Michael, I wouldn't be here to be able to help assist other people, and I'm tremendously grateful for this connection.
So what is your what would you say is your greatest challenge? Like, say you get up, you're doing your practice, and then you're, doing readings or whatever it is throughout the day. What is it? Is there something that bumps you out of, that place of connection, or is there one thing more than anything else that you find yourself where you have to pause and stop and say, no, this is not what I'm about, and go back to that place of connection? Is there anything that you struggle with? Like, as humans, we all have certain things that are our triggers. So do you have one?
I have many triggers, Polly. Yes, I am human. I have many triggers. Probably the greatest trigger for me is, and this may sound silly, is my own self-worth, and really connecting to my true authentic self as my spirit, and really understanding that I am an amazing, powerful spirit, because in my humanness, I have my own frailties, and I have my own negative thought forms, and I have my own fears just like anyone else. And yet in the next minute, I can channel spirit, and then I'm back to being my regular self, and then I still have these little nagging thoughts and worries. But the beautiful thing is I know the difference. So I know the difference between living in our third dimensional world with all the worries and simply knowing that there is a greater energy here, and that I have many, many, many powerful beings of light who surround me, protect me. And so that is my saving grace for me. If I didn't have that, my life would be much more difficult. But I have frailties, I have worries, I have triggers just like anybody else. But I'm able to step back and say, oh, okay, this is what is real. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I do for sure. I mean, absolutely. And I love. I know when I'm when I'm going off, having some reaction that's not so positive, and my family, especially my children, are the first to reward me with the thing they'll either say, that's not very life coach-like, or, something else that's funny, because it is my, for sure, the biggest trigger for me is my children, not so much them doing whatever kids do, and now they're getting older, but it's more like when I feel like they're not getting the respect they deserve, that's the trigger for me. Like if I see like somebody's not showing them, or that respectful, that's a trigger for me. Or environmental and things to things to animals. I'm a real animal rights. I'm a vegan. That to me, any suffering, when there's purposeful suffering, that is another trigger for me, and I just have to stop and say, if I stop thinking about it, if that is not in my reality, does it not exist? Like, I need to just stop thinking about it, because it does anyhow. That's a whole nother thing. But with that same thought process, we have the ability to choose, like in this conversation, I ask most of my guests this, because we have the ability to be in the moment now where you and I are having this conversation. And then we have the ability to be in that, to be connected to everything, right? It's not just, it's this connected to all. We have the ability to be in that space right now as well. So why do you think that we come back to this place in time, like put our attention back to this place in time, when we do have the ability to be connected, to be connected to all, like put our awareness to the connection to all? Does that make sense, that question?
Why we focus our attention on our 3D reality? Is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I don't know if I have the full answer for this, but my personal opinion is because we are humans living in this human experience, and that's what we feel, sense, hear, and know. And so we're living in it. We're surrounded with it. We believe that that's all there is. And yet, okay, when we have these synchronistic moments, or we we begin to feel in touch with the spiritual realm even more, then that can shift our perspective to say, oh, there's more than what I see, feel, sense, or know, but we're living in this world. So, yeah, of course, we get triggered by stuff, but also we think that's just our reality. Like yesterday, I was doing a psychic fair, and there was a man next to me, and this was really quite lovely. And I didn't really talk with him. I mean, not on purpose or anything. We got done. I said, well, I didn't come over to your booth because everybody's busy. And I said, I didn't get to get acquainted with you. And he says to me, he says, I felt you. I felt your peace. You're very peaceful. And then he touches his temple and said, telepathy. We were communicating, he said, telepathically. He said, I felt your peace. That was so profound for me, because one of the intentions that I hold is that I wish to send out love, and I wish to send out peace, and I wish for that to be in my vibration. And without having a conversation with this guy very much, he was feeling me. And it was like, I don't really, wasn't that lovely of him to say? I just thought that was so. I will always remember that, because, and again, Christ was talking about that today in my message this morning, how important it is for us at this time to hold our frequency within our etheric blueprint, within our aura, within our electrical magnetic system, to be peace and love, so that we're not affected by the chaos that's happening out in the world. And this man was able to feel my energy, and I don't know, what he said to me was most profound, that even in, this, like you're talking about, we get triggered by things, or I was tired, but he could still feel my peaceful presence.
Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. Well, right, because that's the most real part of you is that beautiful energy that you contain and that you share, and that's the strongest part of you. But but that part of you that's so beautiful and so strong is elsewhere also. And so that's the thing that always, that I think so much about, because that beautiful part of you, that beautiful strength, that beautiful awareness is with you and holding you and centered. But that beautiful awareness is elsewhere. And so it's like, what brings us back to this place instead of the other places your beautiful awareness is, because your beautiful awareness is in many places. I mean, there's not a disconnect. It's not like anyhow. So I think about that a lot, and I like to ask the people that I have on my show, just because I think it's so powerful. I think it's so powerful for us to, again, choose to where we want to put our awareness, and really where we put our awareness is what's most important to you. It goes back to, when somebody asks you to do something, or you ask somebody to do something and they keep telling you, oh, I didn't have time. They're not putting their awareness into it. So, so whether we're putting your awareness into something as a new age type of vocabulary, or in a very, in a business sense, it's like where we're putting our awareness is what means that's where we're at. That's what holds meaning to us, for sure. So what is if you had the greatest message to share with this world, what would it be?
Do you want me to bring a channeled message in, or you just want my own personal?
Oh, yeah, if you want to do that, or let's do a personal message. Like, what's your, if you could have 3 sentences, some short personal message, what would it be for humanity? Like, how do you, your legacy, so to speak?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is love thyself. To really begin to honor the truth of who you are, to honor your true, authentic self. Because most of us, like I said before, my trigger is not honoring the truth of who I am. And if we can begin to love ourselves and be able to find peace within our system, then we are the change that we wish to see in life, because we can make a difference. We are the light of the world. And so when we're able to feel our magnificence and our beauty, not in an arrogant way, but in a very strong and empowered way, then we're able to take the hand of our brother and sister and help them step forward to be empowered and to move forward into their brilliance.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And you're right. It is, because when we see our beautiful self, it allows us to see the beauty in others. You know, if we can fully appreciate ourselves, we can fully appreciate others. And that's very, very true. So, yeah, that would be awesome if you could channel a message, a brief message. If you can do that right now, that would be lovely to share with the audience.
Okay. Well, I feel the energy of Christ here. It'll just be a few minutes. It won't be very long. And I feel his energy here with us now. My beloved souls, yes, it is I, Christ. I come to help you to understand that each of you holds the energy of a beautiful diamond, like a beautiful diamond within your heart. I ask each of you that are listening to begin to breathe in this frequency, for I stand with you. And I ask you to allow me to open and expand your heart chakra so that you may begin to feel the brilliance of who you truly are, like a beautiful diamond shining. May you begin to breathe in this essence and be at peace. May you breathe in this frequency of the diamond light and allow yourself to shine and to call forth your magnificence so that you truly can be that which you came to be. I know, dearest ones, that it is difficult to comprehend the soul's journey and all that is being asked of you here on this earth plane. But we simply ask that you hold the energy of your magnificence. Begin to feel it, even for a moment. Begin to feel your magnificent self, the strength of your spirit, and allow yourself to open your heart so that you may give the energy of love first to yourself and then on to another. My Mother, my Mary, we stand here with you. And if you so choose, you may allow us to open up your beautiful, sacred, merciful heart and begin to feel the tender mercy that you are like a beautiful, shining light stream of magnificence, beauty, and strength that is unlike any other. And allow yourself to merge into this authenticity like a beautiful rainbow. Allow yourself to feel the magnificence and the magic of you. And know that you have come here by divine appointment and on divine timing, and that your life has purpose. You were never alone. And that we and all of your spiritual team, all of the masters and guides that are part of your spiritual team, stand with you. And all you have to do is ask, and we shall come to you and serve you, for it is our honor as we bow unto you. For you are all magnificent spirits, brave, courageous, to come to the earth plane over and over and over again, standing in your brilliance and holding the light in honor of this beautiful planet and all of creation. We thank you, we bless you, and we send you our love. And we thank you, Christ, and we are ever so grateful. And so it is.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Wow. Well, thank you so much. So, when you channel, do you see some images with it? So not just the words that come through, but do you see images that with that?
I have a full multi-sensory experience. So not only am I claircognitant, where I hear it, but I'm clairsentient. I feel it. I'm clairvoyant. I'm seeing it. So I'm actually able to, when I'm doing it, I have this whole, it's like a little vignette or a movie. So I can tap into the energy and I can feel the energy and I'm hearing it. I'm a conscious channel. I'm not a trance channel, and I can move in and out of the energy rather quickly. So I can bring Christ's message and then I come back into my own energy field. So I'm able to shift through it with great ease, but I'm having a full multi-sensory experience when I'm having it. So it's, for me, as a psychotherapist, it's all about feeling. And so when I tap into their energy, it's so peaceful and so loving. And like I said before, this is what has been my saving grace by connecting with them, is feeling their energy and holding that love and that peace within my being. It's that's the best part of doing it, is feeling their vibration and feeling their love.
No, I can totally relate to that. And I don't know if you've experienced this. I'm sure you have to some degree. When I first started channeling, and I didn't really know what it was, but when I first started, it was more like, where I would feel an entity like come into my body, and like I could feel them, I could see what they look like, but they would come in and so that was the first experience that I had for a while, and now it's completely different. Now it's more like what you do. But have you had it where it's like a trance channeling? Have you done that?
No, I've never done trance channeling. No, no. I for whatever reason, I'm not. I shouldn't say I'm babbling here for a second, excuse me. I believe that we choose how we're going to bring the information through us prior to this incarnation. So I'm really, really happy that I'm able to be a conscious channel. I really don't have interest in being a trance channel because I want to be aware of what's going on. Plus, I want to feel the energy. So that's never been my experience, and I'm not really interested in that. And I'm also able to control the information that comes through me. So I use my work in sacred practice. As a psychotherapist, a person comes to me, they have an appointment, I work with them, the hour is done and they're done. That's how I work with spirit. So I'm not like an open channel getting information extraneously all the time. I'm not interested in doing that either because I have to go about my daily life practice of living in this 3D world. So I'm really happy how I have set the boundaries and how I operate with my work with spirit.
Right. Well, I think, and I really appreciate what you're saying is setting the boundaries. And I think for me, it was kind of learning how things worked. And which, I know that there are a lot of people, because I work with a lot of them, they come to me and it's like, figuring out how, so they can start picking up, we all receive messages all day long, but, when you start becoming aware of the different messages and the different ways that you do receive them and how to make sense of it. And so that was one of the biggest ways for me to figure out that I could connect with things that we don't see in this data, in the third world or in this 3 dimension. Like it maybe that's what it did. For me, it took that really powerful thing for me to figure out, oh, you have this ability. And then things have become much more fine-tuned, and I work with a different type of energy. But that, in the beginning, it was very much like getting hit over the head with something. It was very strong and very powerful and also very exciting at the same time. But it's different. It's more refined now. So I appreciate what you're saying on learning how to manage things, and I think that that's one of the greatest gifts maybe that can be learned in this life, or for people that are just becoming aware of their abilities is that you do have the ability to manage how you receive and when you receive and what you receive. And you have the ability to decide how you're going to share it. Because otherwise it's really overwhelming.
It can be. I've worked with people who are constantly on, and number one, it's not physically healthy for you. It can be mentally draining. So it may seem fun or exciting, but to me, I said that before, this work is sacred. I take it as sacred. I feel this is sacred work, and I don't do it in fun and games. I don't do it out of curiosity, and I'll do readings or parties for people on occasion, but I tell people up front, this is not a parlor game. For me, this is very serious. This is my life's work. This is what I do. I take this very seriously. And so how I work with the energy, I also take very seriously because, like with Edgar Casey, he overworked and he died prematurely. Or people can become physically sick, or they can become mentally imbalanced. So you really need to be careful how you're working with the energy. And that's just, I'm not trying to be negative, but that's just how I feel, that you just need to really be discerning and be really careful, because it's not, it's not a scary thing yet, but it's just practical.
Right, and I think it's, I believe that there are more and more people coming into our world. So we have people, younger people that have the ability, like they are so connected, but it's not like you can pick up a book, say in the public school system that's helping you navigate this energy or navigate these feelings or navigate these insights, right? And so it's really a gift when people are reaching out and helping other people and saying, you know what, this can be normal and it can be at first unsettling, but this is how you manage it. Or these are some possibilities of how you can, practices that you can do to make you feel better. Because there are so many people that experience these amazing gifts, but they haven't figured out how to use them in a positive way, like that they're still frightened, that feels uncomfortable instead of it feeling, inspirational.
Yeah, you have to learn how to navigate through it. I didn't have a mentor, so I've been self-taught through spirit, which is highly unusual. People say, who do you study with? I studied with spirit. And so that may be a bit unusual, but that's what I did. I dedicated myself to listening to them and working with them, and I've been self-taught. And yet, for other people, maybe they might want to go to take mediumship classes or learn the basics, which is fine. But for me, whatever reason, I didn't need to do that. It wasn't available to me. But I do caution people to be aware that they do need to navigate through this and find their own skill set to be able to, what works for them. Because just like any other skill set.
It is. I totally agree, and it doesn't matter how you learn or who teaches you or whatever. Ultimately, it's you. I mean, it has to be you that learns, and it has to be you that figures out like what symbols mean. It's ultimately up to you, and it really can't be taught by another person. I don't believe. Like, it really has to be you committing to it and figuring it out. But it's great to have a community that you can connect with and so they can talk about what their experiences are. So it's more the community and the support. Ultimately, it's you that has to do that has to be committed to understanding how and what it is. So, Lee, we are almost out of time, but I really, really appreciate your sharing your wisdom and your beautiful energy, and I want to you to share one more time your website information.
It's LeaChapin.com, LeaChapin.com. And again, my latest book is called Divine Union, The Love Story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It's available on my website. It's available on Amazon on Kindle. My first book was also channeled. It was called The 12 Master Teachings of Christ. They're inspirational messages. They're the messages or the lessons that Christ brought forth 2,000 years ago, but they're in a very small inspirational manual. They're also available on my website, LEAChapin.com, and through Amazon. So thank you for having me. This has been very delightful. You're a great interviewer. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for connecting. And I really appreciate that. And I just really love being able to share the energy of inspiration out to everybody that's listening, because you know that your words landed on the people that they were supposed to today. And so you got more people on the path to discovering their full potential, which is beautiful. So, again, this is Polly Wirum. My website is gatewaystopeace.com. That's with the number 2. You can sign up for my blog. So go to my website, sign up for my blog and newsletter, and you can get a free 10-minute reading. So just contact me. And, again, I just really appreciate everybody that's listening to me now. I'm going to take a break on radio. I'm going to start a YouTube channel, but I do plan on being back and have it more where I share a show with other amazing speakers and teachers, where we each have the time to share our insights and our what we believe to be very strong words and messages that we want to share with the world. So we will take time. We'll be on a rotating schedule. So look forward to sharing that, and more information on that will be coming. And until then, make this life the most beautiful experience you possibly can. Again, this is Polly Wirum. Many blessings to you. And Nicole, thank you all always for your generosity and your wisdom and your insight and your connections and all the beautiful things you bring to the world. So until the next time, this is Polly. Goodbye.
It's time for News for the Soul. Life-changing talk radio from the uplifting to the unexplained. Join us as we celebrate 11 years of empowerment broadcasts, becoming the #1 life-changing talk radio show in the world, according to Google, AOL, MSN, YouTube, and more. And home to the largest, totally free transformational audio library in the world. All found at newsforthesoul.com. And now, here's your host and the founder of News for the Soul, the one they're calling the Oprah of the Internet, Nicole Whitney.